Have you ever trusted someone so completely, only to find out they were using you the entire time? What if that person was the one you thought would never turn their back on you, the one you considered family? This is the story of betrayal so deep, it sent me from sleeping on the streets to standing in front of a judge who couldn't hold back her tears, and when I left that courtroom, everything changed. My name's Lucas, I'm 28, and I work the night shift at a warehouse in Detroit. Every day is the same. I wake up to the buzz of my alarm, pull myself out of bed, and head straight into a shift that drains me, the kind of tired that seeps deep into your bones. My apartment's small, the rent's high, and the bills just keep piling up. It's a grind, but it's all I've got, or so I thought. For a while, I thought I was just like everyone else, just trying to get by, doing the best I could with what life handed me, but looking back now, I realized that I wasn't just trying to survive, I was being used, and the worst part? The person who did it wasn't some stranger, it was the guy I trusted most, the guy I thought would never betray me. Ryan, my so-called best friend, we'd been inseparable since high school. He had this way about him, you know? Smooth talker, always convincing you he had your back. He was always there when things were going well, but when times got tough, he seemed to disappear, and that's what happened when I needed him most. For months, I'd been picking up extra shifts, trying to make ends meet. I was working 20-hour days just to keep the rent paid. Ryan knew this. Hell, I told him all about it. He'd always act like he was in the same boat, complaining about his job, talking about how hard things were for him too. So when I hit a rough patch, when I couldn't pay rent and ended up sleeping on a bench in the park a few nights, I thought for sure Ryan would have my back. Instead, I found out he'd been talking to my landlord behind my back, telling him I was a lost cause, that I couldn't pay my rent. Ryan had used my vulnerability to save himself, telling anyone who would listen that I was falling apart. It wasn't just the money, it was everything. He was using me, playing me like a fool. And when the cops came to arrest me for being homeless in a public space, guess who wasn't there? Ryan, my so-called best friend. Not a word, not a single call. The night I got arrested, the world felt like it had just pulled the rug out from under me. They slapped the cuffs on me like I was some kind of criminal, and in that moment, I just went numb. It was like everything went silent. The cold handcuffs, the bright lights of the cop car, the distant sound of sirens. All I could hear was the beating of my own heart. Then I saw Ryan, standing across the street, watching it all unfold. He didn't even look at me, didn't even flinch, and when the officer asked him what happened, Ryan's words cut like a knife. Yeah, I told you he was trouble, couldn't keep a job, always complaining about life. His voice was cold, distant, no guilt, no hesitation, just a casual dismissal. In that moment, I felt something inside me break, but not in the way you'd think. I didn't lash out. I didn't beg for him to help me. I stood there, just letting his words sink in, letting the betrayal eat away at me in silence. The next few days were a blur. I spent a couple of nights in holding, but I wasn't going to let this go. I wasn't going to let Ryan's betrayal be the end of my story. I had to take control. When I was finally released, I didn't head back to my apartment or call anyone. I didn't go crawling to Ryan, like I knew everyone thought I would. Instead, I sat down, took a long breath, and started planning. I wasn't going to fight Ryan directly. I knew that wouldn't work, but there was something about the way he always thought he was untouchable, that he could manipulate the world around him without any consequences. That's where I had him. I got to work quietly, gathering evidence, making connections, every small detail that could expose Ryan for the liar he was. Slowly, meticulously, I built my case, and then, I waited. The texts started coming a few days later. Ryan, frantic, calling, texting, begging. He was trying to make it seem like he was concerned, trying to cover his tracks. Lucas, man, I didn't mean for things to go this far. He'd texted me at 2 a.m. You've got to understand. I didn't want to see you like that. Let's fix this. I didn't respond, not once. I wanted him to feel the weight of his own lies, the desperation he was feeling now that he saw I wasn't coming to save him. I let him sweat, let him twist in his own panic. He tried calling. I ignored it. The power was finally in my hands. And then came the day in court. The judge, an older woman who looked like she'd seen it all, began to read off the details of my case. But she didn't just read about me, she read about Ryan too, everything I'd uncovered, every dirty secret he thought he'd gotten away with. The look on Ryan's face when he realized it was all going public? It was priceless. He couldn't hide his panic. And then, the judge, her face softened as she read the last piece of evidence I'd submitted, a series of text messages showing how Ryan had used me for his own gain. The courtroom went silent, Ryan's face turned pale, and the judge? She wiped away a tear as she announced her ruling. Ryan would lose everything, his job, his reputation, his friends, publicly, it all came crashing down. Ryan's downfall was swift, his friends dropped him, his reputation crumbled, and the job he thought he was untouchable and was taken from him. It wasn't a fast thing, but when it hit hard. For me, I walked away with my dignity intact. I didn't get everything back, but I had something more valuable, respect for myself. I wasn't the guy who got used anymore. I was the guy who stood tall, even when everything was stacked against me. It's funny how betrayal can break you, but it can also make you stronger. As for me, I don't think about Ryan much anymore. I've moved on, but every time I pass the park where it all went down, I can still feel the weight of that night. I've learned to hold my head high, even when life tries to knock me down. And if you're ever in a spot where someone's using you, don't let them. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Stand tall, speak your truth, and remember, you're worth more than their betrayal. Have you ever had someone turn their back on you? Share your story in the comments below, and if you want to hear more stories like mine, don't forget to subscribe. Stay strong, stay true.